Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing Runes from Allplay and John D. Clare. Allplay recently sent me their newest small box games, and I've been making my way through them one at a time, and today I get to tell you about my favorite one of them so far. It's not necessarily the favorite of the new ones, it's just my favorite one so far, which still does mean something. But Runes is a shedding game. It's a trick-taking shedding game, which you're going to be given a hand of 9 cards. Those 9 cards, you're going to have to try to play them to get rid of those cards. If you've played shedding games, a lot of what I'm about to tell you will be very familiar, but there are some definite twists to it. So, in this game, you're going to be playing a set of cards, and it specifically is a set, so maybe I can go ahead and play a 6 over here, at which point someone can beat that by playing a higher number. Or alternatively, I can play 2 7s, and someone can beat that by playing 2 higher numbers. However many cards I play, other players have to play that many cards and beat it with the same or higher number. Already one of the differences between this and many shedding games is you could beat it with the same. If I play 2 7s, you can also play 2 7s. As a bonus, that will have the effect of skipping the next player, and they're going to have to pass even if they could play cards to that. First player to go out, first player to completely deplete their hand, is going to score points. You can see over here we have different number of points depending on the player count. I have this set up for a 3-player game. The first person to go out will get 5 points, second player will get 3 points, and the third player in, the last player, will lose a point. You start at 0, and the way you win is, well, one of twofold. Option 1 is once you've made your way all the way up to 9 or 10 points, at that point, if you are the first to go out while at 9 or 10, you win the game. Alternatively, at the end of 4 rounds, at the end of round 4, you're going to take the person who has the most points as well as the player who won round 4, and they're going to go into a 5th round, just a 2-player 5th round, and the winner of that round will win the game. That's how you play Runes, except there's a whole lot more going on, otherwise this wouldn't be very interesting. So in addition to the fact that you have that aspect where you can match and then therefore skip another player, that's minorly interesting, you're going to do is you're going to look at your hand of cards at the start of each round of play. You may notice those numbers on the bottom, those represent what's on the other side of the card. So for example, I already have 2 7s in my hand. Do I have any other 7s? I do. I'm going to take this 6 over here and I'm going to flip it to its reverse side and flip it into the sleeve. So at the start of each round, you are already changing some of the cards that you're playing. In this case, I have now a new knight card, and now I have 3 7s in my hand, allowing me to play a triple, which will be harder for the other players to beat. That's the first aspect. So in each round of play, all the players at the table are looking at their hand and flipping a card which will remain flipped for the rest of the game. Outside of that, when it's your turn to play a set of cards, so for example, let's say I play these 3 7s, this next player goes ahead and looks at their hand, they try to see what they can do, and they have an 8, 8, and a 7. They don't have a triple though. They can't currently play a triple, which means they'd have to pass. But you have options in this game, because you may have noticed there are rows of cards that you can buy. You can flip your tokens, each player has 3 per round, he's going to flip these 2 to take this +1, it's a +1, and he's going to modify this 7, making that 7 into an 8 through the use of this +1. At the end of his purchasing, these cards will slide down, and players can buy these for 1, 2, or 3, assuming you have enough left over to flip. That means that during the course of a round, you have 3 of these to flip and buy cards. At this point, I'll play my 7, 7, and now my 8, sorry, my 8, 8, and now my 8, and I now went ahead and beat them. And again, this is a permanent modification for the rest of the game. Speaking of which, twice across the course of the game, players have the opportunity to claim a card. You have something with your own color banner, and you can place that over a card, claiming that card as yours, which means when it shows up in future rounds, you will have the ability to get it automatically. Players will literally just have to hand that card to you, because you'll have the ability to get the cards that you've claimed, but you can only do that twice during the game. Which means you basically have a few options in this game. You have your starting hand of cards, you can go ahead and flip one of those cards to choose a slightly better hand of cards, and then across the course of the round, you have 3 of these to flip to go ahead and add modifiers to your cards that will then be shuffled into future rounds. Which does mean that as the game progresses, you're going to have more and more powerful cards, and what starts off as a round of kind of fairly typical shedding ends up in a crazy dynamic where your particular game might have like a whole bunch of extra 8s. Like that 8 over there, you may just have a whole bunch of players who have extra 8s because of the way they modify cards. You'll have cards that count as the other cards that let you draw and discard other cards. You'll have so many different options on the table in those cards as you play through it. But the basic idea is still going to be that you try to get rid of your cards in order to be the first one out, to be able to claim those points, move up the track, and be eligible for winning at some point by being the first one out either in the very last round, or alternatively once you are already at 9 or 10 points. We're speaking to a review of Runes, and this one I was not confident in it when I read the rules. I read the rules and I was like, okay, great. This is a classic John D. Clair design, overlaying cards, just basically progressively make your cards more and more powerful. But it just feels like it almost is a little too complicated and not rewarding enough. But after having played this one, it is so satisfying as far as what this game does. And to be very clear and fair in a pro and a con kind of way, this is not the most elegant shedding game I've played. If you want a game where you can kind of count the numbers, have a good sense of things, depending on the kind of things you experience or want out of your shedding games, this might not be for you. But for me, it allows the game to start off at a very level playing field and then to just evolve into craziness and chaos. You're going to be making decisions as far as when is it worth upgrading cards, when is it worth overspending, as opposed to just locking in the cheaper benefits, but then you only have that option for only one thing, but you can make your currency go further, allowing you more opportunities to get out of a hard spot. But sometimes it's not the right thing at the right time. When do you claim a card? When do you claim a card for permanent ongoing benefits so you can always have that card in your hand, giving you more options and flexibility? Do it too early and your cards might not be powerful enough. Do it too late and you're not getting enough benefit out of those claimed cards. Trying to get a sense of the evolving cards as you go through the game gives you a lot of kind of control, but also chaos as you play through things, because things will get crazier and crazier. You'll have a better sense of, again, like just to give an example, the last game I played, there were so many 10s, it was crazy. At first it was like, I got 4 10s, look how cool I am. And I was like, oh really, I see your 4 10s, and I beat it with 4 more 10s. That kind of thing will happen as you play through the game, as the cards continuously evolve. As one player takes that 14, which they flipped over from the other side, adds a +6 to it, and now they have a 20. The only thing crazier than that is getting 2 20s. 2 20s is a very hard double to beat, although you're going to continuously try to figure out what the right way is to get a little bit ahead of the other players. So overall, it just kind of lends itself into the craziness of the shedding mechanism by allowing players to choose when to power up their cards, to get a good sense of the power creep of the table, and when something is actually going to help you win, versus when something is just going to help you just temporarily play a card, and not overall help you deplete your hand first. So it's just, I found it to be a very satisfying game that kind of grows with the players, evolves as you play, and makes you feel pretty powerful by the time you get to the end, to the point that the really powerful stuff is even being beaten again by other players' hands. The biggest draw against it is I do think it lends itself to the chaos. I don't think this is a very stable shedding game. I don't think this is one where you could be like, yeah, this is how I have to play the game. No, you just, things are going to evolve, things are going to crazy, and that is what it is. And the other thing I'll say is that as you add cards to these sleeves, you will have the bulky cards, the cards that have multiple upgrades on them, and it'll be very clear when that happens. And that, it doesn't make a big deal, assuming you're dealing with people who play in good faith. No one's going to be trying to like pay attention to which card is a big pack and then shift it around. But it still is, it removes a little bit of the magic to be like, oh yeah, I just dealt you a 2 giant packets of cards in a row, enjoy those. That's like a small little nitpick against it. Overall, I really enjoyed Runes. It was, I'd say, the sleeper hit for me out of this most recent batch of All Play games. Was not expecting a ton from it, but overall really enjoyed my experience. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. As far as other game recommendations, definitely check out Panda Spin if you like this one. The nature of the evolving cards as you play, your cards getting more powerful, Panda Spin kind of has that in a slightly different mechanism to it. And if you just like the card crafting in general, John D. Clair has a whole bunch of games that utilize this system, but if you like watching your cards get more powerful, definitely check out Unstoppable, one of his more recent ones that gives you a solo puzzle as you card craft your way towards victory. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you found this video helpful, and as always, I hope you have a good one.